Welcome to The Right Reasons. We're back.
We're back.
I'm Juliette Littman.
I'm David Jacoby, and I'm a little intimidated and nervous and scared. I feel like we're about before a high school football game.
A lot of the time we start by saying we're fired up, we're ready to go.
But we need it this time.
We're really ready to go.
It's like, when
let's
Conan O'Brien
go.
starts his show, he's like, "We got a great show for you tonight." But he does it says it every single night.
But this is our time.
This is us. This is our playoffs.
We have so much to cover. We got Batch is back with
Batch
Farmer Chris.
is back. Farmer Chris, your friend.
My buddy. He was great. We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. The challenge is back. Bittersweet.
God, I love the challenge.
But we just love that show.
I love the challenge. It should never ever stop that show.
The skeletons are here on the
Skeletons
on the Real World.
Real World's excellent this season.
Vanderpump Rules is in its 12th week of the show or something, but I feel like it just started yesterday. It's so fresh.
And last night, Parenthood.
It's just everything we love. Parenthood stretch run too. This is it for Parenthood.
This is it for us. This is our time, Juliette.
It's kind of
this is our time.
Yeah, this is our March Madness, and it's only January.
Yeah, no one cares about us though. Let's talk about
Let's jump in. Batch. Okay. Just want to say we watched together, which we've never done before.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was cool. I feel like we bonded.
It was long. You know what I mean?
I think I was falling
a little
asleep
too
at the
long.
end.
Yeah, it was a little too long. It was all right, 3 hours. One of my favorite things about the Batch is this. They're like, all right, we're gonna stretch this out. We'll make it 3 hours. We'll get the money or whatever the ratings that way. And they had a meeting. They're like, so how do we do it? We've got a traditional 2-hour episode, but how can we sort of make it feel bigger and more like an event and longer? What was their solution, Juliette?
To rent out a vacant lot.
A parking lot.
Put down a step and repeat and a red carpet, and call it a red carpet event.
Red carpet event. But the thing about a red carpet is you're outside of an award show and you walk down it and go into the show. But they're just milling about.
There wasn't even that much milling. It was just Chris Bukowski
trying to get on camera. Yeah.
To get in every shot.
Yes.
And also,
he did a lot of fake laughing in the background too, because he knew he was on camera, so he'd be like, ha 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 ha. But it wasn't that funny.
He also did what everyone does when they're waiting for someone in a bar, bored in a bar, or just straight up alone, which is pull out your phone, pretend that you're oh, where's my friend? Are they here yet or whatever? Chris, we see you. We know what you're doing.
Yeah. The phone has become the crutch for any sort of awkward silence, or if you're in an elevator and instead of talking to the person next to you but you feel their energy, you're just oh, I'm gonna be on the phone, so there's no reason I would talk to them.
It's just he was ridiculous.
It was a great performance by Chris Bukowski.
Always available.
The red carpet was so silly. When they did a crane shot and they pulled back and you kind of saw the sides of the frame or whatever, it was you're on a parking lot.
Who were the people that were there holding the signs? Okay, so I was when I was watching, I was oh, I would not want to do that. That just doesn't seem fun. I wouldn't be proud. But then I saw Bill the next day and he was why weren't we there? We should have been there. And I was no, I wouldn't want to. He's yes, you would. And I was would I?
It's such a
long
thing. We'll get into the show, but I really want to talk about the red carpet for another 50 minutes, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, there's a lot to. That was honestly meatier than the show. I'm going to go out and say.
That's fair. And at the show, when one of the crazy chicks got kicked off, they did her exit interview. It was light out because it was the next day. They filmed all through the night. It
was long. I know I've heard it's very long always.
But you've been there.
Yeah, I didn't. I left at midnight when I went, and I was missing the good stuff because they do go all night. But I think it was even longer than usual because they staggered the limos more than usual.
Yeah.
And they had 30 girls instead of 25, and everyone gets FaceTime with Chris on the first night. But back to the red carpet. Chris Harrison kept acting like he was surprised to see all these people. Nikki's here.
Yeah.
Oh,
look at that. Yeah, he totally did that.
And it's Chris, you knew exactly who was coming and when.
It's in a rundown. You had a meeting about this.
And they used it to really get back at Juan Pablo. That was 15 minutes with Nikki. I didn't know she could talk that much.
Seriously, they did a Nikki sit down Barbara Walters interview.
They also gave her a full makeover. One thing I've always had a hard time with is her hair. Didn't think it's very good blonde highlights. They did. They gave her a much better ombre look.
When I saw our colleague and friend David Cho, who doesn't listen to the podcast, but shout to him anyway. His first takeaway was Nikki looked great last night.
Yeah, they stylist her up. Do you think that she could be the Bachelorette at some point?
No.
Because she's too much of a bitch.
You didn't see her on couples therapy, man. She was not a nice person or a good person or who you think she is.
Is there anyone else who didn't win or who won, but then broke up with the person who's still in the mix though? I feel like they're keeping her around.
Wait till we get to news, buddy.
Yeah, well that's
Wait till
true.
we get to news.
But that's okay. But who else has broken up recently? I mean, who hasn't?
I don't know.
Actually, they have some successes lately. Well, we'll get to news, but
Des and Chris, Sean and Catherine.
Yeah, Sean and Catherine, I believe in. Catherine was going for high fashion.
Catherine, she looked kind of like a like she was in a cocoon. She looked like something Lady Gaga would wear to a concert. It was just like, it was ridiculous.
She was trying
She
things
cannot
out.
pull that off.
I think she's really pretty, though.
No. See, this is something that we disagree about. I think Chris is handsome.
Chris.
Yeah, Farmer Chris.
He's more attractive in person.
Extremely handsome man. Catherine doesn't do it for me.
Interesting. Okay.
Doesn't do it for me.
Fair enough. This is able to segue into the show. One reason why it's easier to talk about the pre-show is there was just so many women on the premiere. It's like nothing was penetrating because I was like, it was like too much stimulation all at once. Too many people.
They did 15, and then Chris made it seem like that was the only all it was going to be. And Farmer Chris, Chris Harrison should change his name for this season. He should be Steve because I get confused.
Or just Harrison.
They're like, is Chris going to come? I'm like, which Chris?
Right.
So, Harrison made it seem like that was going to be it. And Farmer Chris, like, he did that thing where it's like, if I asked for like a pair of sneakers for Christmas and like, my wife got me the pair of sneakers, but like a different color than I wanted or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm so happy. It was like, he did like a Christmas present fake happiness about the 15 girls. He's like, oh, this is amazing, but I kind of thought there'd be like another 10.
Right. He was like hoping for more.
Yes.
Also, Bitchy Juliet alert.
Nice! I love Bitchy Juliet. Can we do a full pod with Bitchy Juliet?
Sure.
Great.
Right now or like next week?
Maybe next week.
See how we're feeling.
Let's just do it
right
organically.
Now, small burst. Really not that attractive to these girls. Like, there's no one who's like drop dead gorgeous.
I'm telling you, I've said this before, but they're like a school of fish. You know what I mean? Like, as a group, you're like, oh my God, look at all these beautiful women. Like, they're all wearing dresses, they all have hair extensions, they're all like, reasonably attractive. But when you isolate every individual one, there's no like dime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some good looking women in there, but there's no dime.
I need a dime. That's top of the line, sorry.
Okay. Which Juliet is that? I don't know if she should come back.
The most embarrassing one.
Yeah, I don't know if she should come back.
But like usually with these girls, like you immediately could see through all of the makeup. Like I'm sorry. I think Britt is probably the prettiest. Everyone was really photoshopped. I haven't seen Jade naked, so I'm only taking.
It's hard for me to just get that image out of my mind.
I'm just taking what we got on the show, but she also looked drastically different on the show than she did in her pictures. Like we studied those girls online. No one looked the same. Like. At all. They all looked so different.
And another thing is, like, I know we have beaten this to death, but I'm going to say it anyway, and you know what I'm going with, right?
Yeah, of course.
They're all 5 years older than their age says.
Of course.
They should just take age out.
The one who said she was 21? Who said she was 21? I was just like...
She has like a 7-year-old kid.
I think the Bachelor should institute their own rule of like 25 is the minimum.
Here's the thing.
There's no hope for a 21-year-old
I know all of you
married.
have driver's licenses.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hand them over.
Yeah, it's just give me your driver's license.
Give me a mugshot.
Yeah,
I don't want this airbrush shit. I want a mugshot. Show me your real self.
Why are you saying you're 27 when you're like you got like crow's feet and like your face says that you're definitely over 35.
10-second personal digression. Yesterday I took a quiz on Vulture of like, can you guess the older Paul Rudd? It was a side-by-side comparison, and it was a dead giveaway because all you have to do is look at his eyes to figure it out.
Up.
Great. That was it.
Good job.
That was perfect.
Got into the buzzer.
So who were some of the girls that stood out to you? Obviously Britt. I mean,
Jade,
like,
because she's naked.
Jade, because she's and I was waiting for her. When Chris was here, like we mentioned Jade, and I could just tell that we should be paying attention to her.
The big winner from the Grantland office was who, Juliet?
The big winner?
Yeah, Caitlin.
Caitlin,
the dance instructor.
Yeah, okay, first of all, unfair advantage, there's no bad Canadians. Name one Canadian you don't like.
Impossible.
Yeah, Canadians are just like
They're
jolly
the
people. They're great.
They're the best.
And like people, especially from British Columbia, it's like the chillest part of a chill country.
Yes, very chill out there in Vancouver.
Like I think you can like smoke weed on the streets openly and like nothing happens.
They encourage it.
Yeah,
like if you're not smoking weed, they give you a ticket.
Yeah, and so Caitlin, she also like it's awkward on that first night to like have an activity for you to do with Chris, but you kind of need it because there's so many girls, so you got to stand out. And it's better. What she did was like teach them. They were like dancing together in the patio. It's better to do that after you walk out of the limo than like
right then. Yeah, it's a good call.
So that was smart. Like she made herself memorable. Also,
you know what my follow-up question is, Juliet?
What?
What would be your activity? Let me guess. You'd be like, oh, hey, Chris, why don't you come sit over here? Let's watch the show called The Challenge. This is CT. That's John A.
Let me tell you a few things.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'd be like, do you want to do a deep dive on someone's Twitter page? It's one of my specialties.
Yeah, exactly. Did you know Dante Exum's Twitter is really interesting?
I haven't checked him out. The first thing I thought of, and this is embarrassing, like right now when you suggested that, I was like, what is the first thing I would do to like seem fun? And I was just like, I don't know, like maybe some Flip cup or something like that. Like, I don't know.
Flip cup?
I don't know.
Flip cup?
That's the first thing I thought of. It's so embarrassing. How old am I?
Well, this one chick.
What would you do? What would your activity be?
Nothing.
I mean, like, it's hard.
I'm married.
But, like, if you were 25 and going on The Bachelorette, like, what would you have done as a youngster in, like,
I
the
would
gigantic
probably-
size 36 pants?
In my no, I wear 36 now. Thank you very much.
Sorry, 56.
Yeah. God, that just hurt my feelings. I would probably watch the challenge.
Wow.
I would probably watch the challenge.
It's really hard.
Like, this is what life like with me is going to be like. Let's sit down on this couch and watch reality TV.
Honestly, what I would have done, probably, I would never go on the show, but if I did, it's like O.J. Simpson. If I didn't kill her, but if I did, I would have, like, researched farming and, like, Iowa to, like, have talking points to relate to him.
Here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
But,
There's
yeah.
no animals on his farm.
Right.
Like, all of these women, like the pig nose thing and, like, the plus-size models, like, oh, I love to eat meat. So I was like, do you guys know he's got a corn farm, right? Like, it's corn.
Like, when he came here, let's just go there for 1 second. First of all, exceeded every expectation. Super nice, seemed very real, seemed earnest, and was much more attractive in person.
Let me just say that. That's exactly what I expected.
Really?
Like, it didn't exceed any expectations for me. I've been Team Farmer Chris for quite some time now.
I have not been, but I really liked him. Like, the thing about him that's, like, a little troublesome for the season is he seems normal.
It's that, and he has no hot takes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's never going to surprise you with something that he says or does.
Right. And I don't know, he was like a regular guy. I really liked Chris a lot. I hope he finds happiness. I'm totally on Team Chris. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, when he was here, I really wanted to ask a lot of questions about farming. Like, like that was like kind of boring stuff, but, like, I really wanted to know. Like,
Do you know that
I don't
he
know. It's
consulted on
interesting.
Interstellar?
He did?
Yeah, you saw Interstellar, right?
Yeah, I love Interstellar.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No, he didn't consult on Interstellar, Juliet. Like, you are so gullible. You think they called up Chris Sewells and they're like, look, there's a lot of corn farming in this movie, so we just want to make sure that the corn farming future that we depict is accurate.
Is that the most embarrassing thing that will happen to me today or all year that I believe that?
Not today or all year. You'll say at least 3 more embarrassing things in this podcast.
I can't believe that. I just really like that movie, and
calling out the size of my waist, you know what I mean? I come back at you. I'm 36, man. I'm old and fat. What do you want me to do?
You're very handsome.
Thank you very much, Juliet. Not Farmer Chris handsome, though.
No.
Do you know what's troublesome with me is his last name?
Souls?
Sewells?
I think it's Souls. Anything with
Souls?
silent letters is just really
It's
rough.
hard,
really
yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta go phonetic or, like, so common that no one could possibly be confused.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way, I think. I don't know. So we like Caitlyn. She reminds me of Vale a little bit from Vanderpump.
We'll get to Vale.
We'll get to Vale. Who else? Brit. I mean, like, they just were banging us over that with Brits. Like, I mean,
They
yeah,
really were.
I liked her, but, like, I had no choice but to like her.
She's the first person that we saw, okay? Like, she was the first little profile they did. She, like, went to Runyon Canyon or something. And she's the first person out the limo. They always reserve the first person out the limo spot for one of the hottest chicks.
First and last. I believe Andy was last when she was in the Juan Pablo season.
Yeah. Was Jade last this time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they always bookend with some of the hotties.
Memorable ones.
Yeah, so one of the ones that stood out to me was Jordan. She was one of our favorites.
We loved her because
We
she
love
jumped
her
off
because
the-
she gets slammered.
Yeah.
Do you remember what her out of the limo gimmick
I
was?
don't.
She had 2 nips of whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
So she's like, it's
She's
like,
a booze hound.
So here's the thing. It's like, all right, I'm a singer, so I have a karaoke machine. I sell human hearts, so I've got a fake human heart. This chick is like, oh, I'm an alcoholic, so I'm just gonna drink. Like, that's my thing. I drink. You know what I mean? It's like, I think
That's not that different than my flip cup suggestion.
It's a great point. It's a great point. And I have no idea if this woman's an alcoholic, obviously, but it's just weird to me that, like, that's what you're leading with. Like, it's fine if you enjoy an adult beverage from time to time, but don't let that define who you are.
Yeah, save it to your personal time on the patio.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you take some shots.
Yeah, then you do some morning drinking.
I mean, like, I don't know what the right play is. Like, I don't know. Like, do you admit how much you were hoping it was Chris? Or, like, I came on the show for you? Like, do you play it cool? Like, I don't know. Like, what is the move?
I think...
There's no right answer.
I think the right answer is just you play it down the middle. What I would do, okay, is I would just, it's very nice to meet you, very sincere, very boring, like, hello, it's nice to meet you, you're great. And then I would have something planned for the one-on-one time.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, that's when I would like do my gimmicky stuff. But out of the limo, I would just be like straightforward, hey, how you doing? Thanks so much, whatever.
The person with the best outfit to me was the woman, I forget her name, but Becca, because she was wearing the romper. That's a power move.
Yeah. All 3 of them. So when Becca comes out of the limo, I watched this with my wife and Juliet and another friend of ours. And when Becca came out of the limo, the three of you guys, like as a chorus, were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
I think Yasko, shout out to Yasko, she was like, "I would be intimidated by her."
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah, all three of you guys were like, I think it's weird to watch how men and women sort of like evaluate the opposite or same sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Like for women, you look at it, like I watch it, I go, oh yeah, she's got like an exotic beauty. She kind of reminds me of Ashley.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
just in the face a little bit. She's got like a weird, pretty face.
She also was, Ashley pulled off a lot of difficult to wear outfits.
Yes.
She's not intimidating because we know how crazy she is. But we don't know about Becca yet.
No.
And Becca was wearing a romper. She looked really good in it.
Sparkly romper.
She rocked it. Like she looked good, and that
Really hard to pull off in a romper.
really hard. And she obviously then like that just implies you have a lot of confidence, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm afraid of Becca, but like I also like her. Like she's a role model.
You want to befriend her.
I want to be Becca. I want to learn how to be like that.
Becca?
How do I wear a sparkly romper with confidence, Becca?
I wear a sparkly romper.
That's you would look great.
I'll wear next podcast. I'm wearing a sparkly. Actually, if you're listening to this, I'm wearing a sparkly romper right now.
And you're killing it.
Yeah.
You're rocking it like Becca. She definitely, among a lot of bad outfits, the worst outfit was the girl who was the ballet instructor who got voted off.
Oh yeah.
She went for like the two-piece prom outfit. It's kind of like you saw this at like the mall, and we're like,
oh yeah,
it was
that
just
was
so
ridiculous.
And she was also the secret admirer one. She was
Oh,
she
God.
swung for
And
the fences and
here's the
completely
thing,
missed.
all those things were bad, but none of it was as bad as how crazy her eyes were.
Yeah.
Like she just had crazy eyes.
She was a nutcase. We're not into
Yeah.
her. Sorry, but she's also gone. Do you remember her name?
Amanda. Boom.
Wow.
Back at you.
You're so good. Excuse me, because you just. Okay, is that
That's the most embarrassing thing that's going to happen on this podcast. Probably. That weird burp.
Wow.
We're definitely leaving that in.
Love in 2015. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You remember everyone's name because you wrote about them.
Yes.
Great new column today, renamed
Lowbrow highlights.
Lowbrow Highlights. No longer the GRTFL.
No.
So everyone check that out. Let's talk about this season, Don. We have to move on soon anyway. We got a lot to cover.
We have a lot to cover. This season wasn't particularly promising, but
Very
like
heavy on Ashley I and her mascara and eye makeup.
Kelsey, yeah.
Which one is Kelsey? Oh, I like Kelsey.
Kelsey's got the short hair.
Oh, I was in a minority. I was like, I like Kelsey. I like her. She's the widow. Her husband died 18 months ago. That's a red flag. Just because she can't be over it. Like, I'm sorry.
It's got to be difficult for her.
Yeah.
That's still got to be kind of fresh. You know what I mean? You'll never get over like the loss of a spouse, but like it's certainly in 18 months it's got to be tricky.
Horrible. I felt really bad for her, but I liked her.
She gets medical attention on them this season.
She does?
Yeah.
I found her very pretty. I liked her look.
She has angles. She has angles where it's like nice, and other angles like
Yeah. I think I'm into Kelsey. So the three major players in this season on were Kelsey, Ashley I with the eye makeup.
The one that looks like a Kardashian.
I for eye makeup.
Yep.
And
I think she's also
Brit.
a virgin.
Right, she's the virgin.
Brit.
Chris can't take a virgin to the fantasy suite.
Even if she's slutty, like in this season on, it was like even if like, she's the sluttiest version or something like that. I was like, God, man, that's pretty catty. Bitchy Juliet would have said that.
I definitely say the horrible thing about these shows that I have to like face all the time is like when someone does something really like bitchy or just like so real that it comes off as horrific. I'm just like, yeah, like that's what girls do. Like this isn't a surprise to
yeah,
me.
Exactly.
Like, and that's something that I was like, I could see myself saying that.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you turn on a girl, you stop referring to them as anything but a bitch.
Here's the thing about Chris that you mentioned before that you're right about, which I think is going to make this somewhat interesting, is this happens every season, right? They develop feelings for multiple women, every single bachelor or bachelorette. And then towards the end, when you get down to like 6 people, like it kind of starts to be difficult to send people home because you've made out with them a few times and like they actually think they're going to marry you and you're like, nah, actually you're gone. And Ben Flanick and like not Sean but Juan Pablo, it didn't seem like they had like hearts and souls and feelings, you know what I mean? But Chris certainly does feel that way. So like there is a part in this season on where it's like he's crying and it's hard for him or whatever. I think he like really gets like emotionally affected by sending women home.
The best example was this was cheesy, but having met him, I believe it when he stopped the rose ceremony because the girl Tara, is that her name, was so drunk.
Yeah.
He like went to get Chris Harrison's opinion about it. Like that's like a cheesy thing that you could like see like, the producer encouraging him to do. But I believe he did that on his own. Like
well, first of all, he has no idea what any of these women's are named.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think
he admitted that.
I think he meant to keep Kimberly, but like the yoga instructor that's pretty hot from Long Island, and they could send home. I'm like, whoa, like she's like top 10 hottest girl here, like you know, and she's a yoga instructor. Like you might want to keep her around.
Right, and like I don't know, like I thought that was kind of sweet.
Yeah, so I think that he wanted to send Tara home, but the producers were like, hell no. Yeah.
I've read like Ali Fedotowsky say that like when there's someone the producers want them to keep, they'll be like one for you, one for us, basically. So like someone that they would have wanted him to get rid of or something, maybe he got to keep or whatever. He must have had like a cheat sheet or something. Like
No, they probably just stop. You know what I mean? They probably do 5 roses and then
Five at a
stop.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
5 at a time. All right. Well, we have a lot to look forward. I mean, this is kind of like our bread and butter. Like
I love The Batch.
It feels really good to have it back, and like it's just kind of like the anchor of the week. And
Yeah. One thing I noticed in the season, they didn't really go to any really cool locations. Like I didn't see any beaches or castles or
Interesting point.
It just seemed kind of like they were in like domestic.
Huh. Well, that's kind of like very Chris style.
We'll see.
Down home
Do you know-
kind of guy.
Do you know where they weren't?
Oh, where?
Panama.
Wait, can I just say one thing? Of
course
that was
you
a
can.
that was a really good transition. So I'm sorry I messed it up. But one thing.
You're gonna have to do the next one.
One thing that I thought was like ridiculous with Britt was like on the first time she's talking to him face to face, she was like, I don't want to raise a family in like LA, like small towns are where it's at. And he was like, good. I'm like, and she's like, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Here's the thing, he's like, I'm gonna have someone to bring back to Iowa and start a life with. Like, it's not even on the board that he would leave Iowa. I like it. He's just like, no, you're coming here.
I kind of like it too. Like people are unrealistic about like when they're on the show, like, oh, maybe we'll move here, maybe we'll move there. Like, no, like someone usually doesn't want to move.
Yeah, like, he's like, I'm not moving and I'm the Bachelor.
It's also like honest. Like if you are looking for a relationship, like why lie and say you'd move to LA?
Would you move to Iowa for a dude?
No.
I wouldn't either.
Absolutely not. What would I?
It's just kind of ridiculous. It's like, you're cool and everything, Chris, but like I'd rather have like a lesser dude in a better city. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're putting all of your eggs in that Chris basket. There's no one else around.
Dude, did you see him? He's fishing with his dad or whatever. He's like, life is slow here. I'm like, that's boring, dude. You're standing next to a river all day long.
You know what's not boring? Being in the challenge house. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
The challenge is back. So let's just say it up top. It's very difficult to watch Night and DM.
It's hard.
It feels wrong. I wonder what their families think.
If you don't know, the 2 people on the challenge have passed away since filming.
Like obviously any kind of death of a young person is tragic, but these 2 felt like particularly tragic. DM, particularly in light of this season, DM talked so much about being sick of having and living with cancer, and then she eventually died of cancer a few months later, and Night passed away like after we still don't know. And so it's really hard to watch them kind of be debaucherous, and just in general, it feels like almost voyeuristic.
It is, and it's got to be difficult for the people that edit the thing and produce the thing, and like, how do you do it? Is it tasteful? Like, should we take them out? Should we add them in? Like, it's got to be, every decision's got to be really difficult, and it's just hard to see them.
It's really difficult. That said, we're going to keep watching the show.
And making fun of it.
And having fun with it, because that's like what we do.
Yeah.
And
like, literally all we do.
Literally, we would not have much to talk about without it. So let's dive in. Should we start with an audio clip?
Why not?
All right, Joe, roll it. What will you do with the money?
50 stacks is a lot of money.
If I win this money, I'll be able to finally start my hair extension line.
Open up my own CrossFit gym.
Opening my own bar. I would definitely pay off some of my student loans.
Take my dog on the most ridiculous vacation to the Alps or something.
Second place.
Okay.
CT. I mean, no, it's Wes. Wes wants to take his dog on a ridiculous vacation to the Alps or something. It's him and his dog walking around the Alps.
We've seen Wes in many relationships. And
it seems like he's found his match.
It seems like no one is as important to him as his dog.
His dog.
It's amazing. He's found happiness. I'm really happy
He's got a great
for him.
relationship with his dog.
I just want to say I'm loving Wes's vibes.
I kind of feel like he should go to the Alps anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that expensive. Sell the monster truck. Go to the Alps.
Wes is the only one who's like, yeah, I would take a vacation because he's the only one who has a job. So, like,
That's a good point.
So he's the only one who like yearns to travel. Brittany, she's from Are You the One? I'm not getting too attached to her. Way too practical. Paying off your loans? Nah.
Paying off your student loans?
Come
Like,
on.
come on.
Get a real job for that.
For real, yeah. Like, you can pay those off slowly, but you're starting a hair extension line.
Yeah,
like, that's
okay.
where it's at.
So that was John A. She wants to start her hair extension line. I had no idea she was a hairstylist. Shout out to her. Good. She lives in LA. Maybe. Oh my God, I should get my hair cut by her.
What? Of course you should.
That's a great.
So here's a question, and I might be wrong here.
Okay.
You know what? I don't feel bad making fun of these people. It's what we do.
They're our friends. They might not know it, but they're our friends.
Yeah,
We say it with love.
Yes, exactly. I don't think she's really a hairstylist. I have no idea, but I bet like she doesn't wake up and go to a salon every day.
One of her tells is that I feel like hairstylists tend to have some kind of curveball, like some kind of like freaky hair thing that you would never do.
Because you do some like green streaks or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like the equivalent of pulling off the sparkly romper. It's like you have the confidence to have like a kind of weird haircut because like, you're a hairdresser. It's like what you do.
Yeah.
It's like I have the confidence to send really stupid, annoying tweets about reality television because like that's what I do.
Yeah.
So she has not had weird hair. She's had bad hair, but she hasn't had weird hair.
No.
Like, in fact, it's quite, although she might have extensions right now. So.
You made a really good point about John A.
And Zach?
Yes.
Okay. So they talked about their breakup, and we had heard about it from Frank. Apparently, she went like catatonic after their breakup, and that was kind of manifested by her appearance on
But let's
Rivals.
talk about their breakup. He's like, oh yeah, we moved in together in LA, and one morning I just bounced.
I love that he owns up to it. Zach is so real.
Yeah, I like Zach.
I do too.
I like Zach. He's
We all like
so
Zach.
interesting. He's like, for 1 second, you're like, oh, that's the dumbest man on the planet. And then the next second, you're like, he's actually really layered.
The weirdest thing is that we've had it confirmed that he did really well at the NFL Combine.
Yes.
So, like, that's true.
Like, he's an athletic freak.
Right. And then he cramped up in the finale with Laurel, which was, like, embarrassing.
Very
for him.
LeBron-y.
Cramp game, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, he gives good soundbite. Also, I can't believe they left this in. They just moved on really quickly from it when he was like, I really like John A because she had no gag reflex.
I was young and dumb, and she had no gag reflex. Like, what?
I just couldn't believe they left that in.
Yeah.
Also, if anyone ever said that about me, I would pound them in immediately. That is like the most offensive thing you can say.
And so he just woke up and then left. It didn't even seem like there was rhyme or reason to it. Like they'd had a big fight or, caught cheating or whatever. He's like, yeah, I just left. When I didn't respond to her phone calls or texts.
I know, like, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
It's horrible.
It's not nice.
So anyway, very, very reasonably so, she showed up on the next challenge. I think Zach was there, maybe not, I can't remember. Just looking kind of like not very Janae. She was wearing gigantic glasses and a beanie, and her hair was kind of a mess and down. And that was like one of her interview looks. So we got a lot of that look.
A lot of that look.
I think she also was even at a couple of like elimination rounds, like looking like that. And that really left a mark. I was like, Janae is like really pretty. Like she could do better than this. And now we have Zach, his interview look.
Stole her look.
He looked exactly the same.
He stole her look. You know, like, this is one of my wife's theories. It's totally true. Like, really good friends end up dressing the same.
Yeah.
You know what I
Couples do
mean?
too.
It's like if you're like driving down the street and you see really good friends, it's like, and they're like just both wearing different color Vans, and like they both have military jacket, but one's camo and one's green. Like they're wearing the same thing, but like a little different. I feel like the two of them were together, and Zach stole her look.
Totally. Well, and then we did a side by side of the photos in your column today, so check it out. And I was like, this is so similar that I feel like it has to be a joke. Like
It's not.
It's so weird. It's so similar. It's like just bizarre.
It's.
I don't know.
I
it's
want
like,
them to get back together.
Also, but I do too. But I could see Zach like being like, it'd be really funny if I made fun of Janae by like looking like her when she looked crappy when I broke up with her or something.
I think that's not what's happening.
That's just how he's looking these days.
You know, another great moment from the challenge. So moving on. When TJ is like, all right, Nani, who do you think your partner is? She's like, I don't know.
options.
I've hooked up with all of these people. I've hooked up with every woman. I've hooked up with the crew. I've hooked up with the guys.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I forgot that I was going back and watching some old footage, and I forgot that.
Wait. That's the most embarrassing thing to happen on this podcast. You think you can just say that and we're going to move on?
I'll tell you why. I was looking for that picture of John A. I was trying to find it.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Okay. I thought you were just doing on YouTube looking at old challenge clips.
No, I was looking for that specifically. I forgot that Nani and Teresa were rivals on that season. Like, that was the pairing. Like,
yeah.
And it's kind of like, bitchy Juliet alert. It's kind of, they're both slutty. It's like sluts can't get down with sluts. I'm sorry. Like,
oh my God.
are we leaving that in?
Yes. Oh my God.
It had to be said. It's out there.
You are on one today, and I like it.
I don't know. I'm just so happy to be back in the groove.
Back in the groove. 2015,
We're
baby.
doing it, baby.
Bitchy Juliet is here.
We're here. I'm here. So we got them. What else was really good on this season? On this
You know what? My favorite is back.
Leroy.
Let's
Audio clip,
Let's
Joe.
get a little taste. Let's get a little taste from Leroy.
Biggest weakness will probably be being in the water. But now I learned how to swim off the internet. Literally, just watching videos of people swimming. Hey, guys.
There's so many things I want to bring up about that clip. One, my biggest fear is being in the water. What? Two, I learned how to swim off the internet. He works at a pool. He works at a pool.
Also,
he works at a pool. Why? So you're at a pool for 10 hours, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go learn to swim. I'm going to leave the pool, open my laptop, and watch YouTube clips. You're at a pool all day. Learn to swim there.
There must be a hot woman in Las Vegas who wants to teach him how to swim.
Seriously.
Like, just go. Also, like, all these hotels have like multiple pools. Go in the kiddie pool and learn. You can stand the whole time.
If your biggest fear is water, overcome that fear by working. You work next to water all day. I'm so confused by this.
I want to do a little armchair psychology here.
Okay.
Leroy, You've been on this show before. You've been in the water a lot. Aren't you over it by now?
It's like, you know you're going to go on the show, so I know you spend probably 30 hours a week working out.
Right.
Like, spend 27 hours a week working out, and spend 3 hours, 1 week, learning to swim.
Also, I don't think this is the same as being afraid of heights. Like Sarah Rice, she's always afraid of heights. Like that's her thing. Okay,
I get it.
We get it, Sarah. You're afraid of heights. Cool. But that's different because if you fall off a gigantic building, like the carabiner breaks or something, there's nothing you can do personally to save yourself. Like you're cooked.
Yeah.
If you in the water, there's plenty of things you can do to save yourself. Like there's ways to live, to survive that. It's not the same kind of fear. So Leroy has been up to this point choosing to not how to conquer his fear, especially given the fact that he's at a pool every goddamn day.
Every day he's at a pool. I just love Leroy so much.
I know.
I love his sense of humor. He's not particularly anything, but he's just like likable.
He's so chill.
Yeah, he's chill.
like the British Columbia of the Challenge cast.
He is the British Columbia of the Challenge cast.
He's out here smoking weed on the streets and he doesn't care.
Every day.
And everyone supports it.
Next
Not
to a
saying
pool.
he smokes weed. I have no idea if he does or not.
No clue.
Him and Naya are partners. And Hurricane Naya, I thought she gave a good first interview when she was talking about if she had given Leroy BJ or not. Mm-hmm. She really disappointed on her last challenge. She was like, not that exciting. She left early. Didn't she quit? Didn't she quit or something?
I don't remember. TJ wouldn't have that. But on her Real World season, she was
a force. It's good that her and Avery hate each other, so that's good that Avery's there.
Yeah.
The one thing
Can we talk about Avery?
Say, the one thing that we also really just don't agree on is Avery. I find her not revealing. I don't find her appealing at all.
What?
Yeah.
Avery?
I said it.
Avery?
Jacoby, she looks so fake, and like she just is like the kind of nah. Hard pass on that one.
One of the reasons I really like her is because on her Real World season, like one of her her personality traits were like huge sexual appetite.
Right.
That was like her number one personality
Right. So like
trait.
that doesn't do anything for me.
That doesn't do anything for you?
No.
So let's just talk about Avery. They're on this show.
I have not seen you this happy in a while. Like
I like to talk about Avery.
You're
see,
so happy.
See how I did that little hand move?
You need to get to like your comfy spot.
I'm gonna get to you just chill for a second. And I'm gonna go in on Avery.
Go.
On her season, she hooks up with Johnny. Johnny's a very likable young man from Eastern Massachusetts. They always say Boston, but I think he's from like a little bit outside Boston.
He's got a real masshole accent, though.
Yeah, he's really likable. He smiles a lot, and like he got in this one argument with Naya, and Naya said that he had a small penis, so he took his pants off and just argued with her with his dick out, which I just loved. I just loved that.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was like there's no way she can like beat you.
Exactly. Yeah. It was.
That's a win for you.
Great move. And so after the show, him and Avery were in love, and they moved to Boston together. While they're in Boston together, Avery got in, quote unquote, a lot of situations that looked bad. And he's like, she cheated on me. And she's like, no, I was just in a lot of situations that looked bad. And then she's mad at him for like breaking up with her.
Right, for him not loving her enough.
All right, here's my thing.
Okay.
If you get in one situation that looks bad,
don't do it again.
I can understand that. If you get in two situations that look bad, with maybe, but how many situations could you possibly be in?
A lot means more than three, because you would say three. There were three situations that look bad. A lot is like 7 or more.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And then they break up, but where does she live?
Boston?
Why is she still there?
I don't know. Because she works at Hooters?
She works at Patriot
Oh, she works
Place.
at Patriots Bar, right?
Yeah. Which is like kind of like the, it's like the plaza where you hang out before you go to the stadium.
I'm not moved by Avery. Like I like Johnny a lot, and for that reason.
That's what happened. So I went from loving Avery, and now I've flipped.
She also was wearing something that I just also.
With all the holes, it was
she was wearing a tie. Like it was tie dye, and I'm really into tie dye.
I think you're too young for this, but do you remember like Hypercolor? Carlos does. Carlos, the guy who's making this video right now. It was like you get the T-shirt wet, and it would change color. It looked like she had like a Hypercolor shirt on.
Well, I like tie dye. Like multiple times, I've said to myself, "This is a new contender for most embarrassing thing. I need more tie dye in my life." Like I just kind of feel that way.
Tie dye's hot right now.
I've been into it for a while. I don't know. Like it's just maybe on the beach. Who knows? Anyway. She was wearing like a tie-dye long sleeve shirt that had like a lot of rips in the sleeves, and it just is a bad look.
It was bad. Have you ever made a tie-dye shirt like in elementary school or anything?
You're setting me up, Jacoby. Do you really want me to go there? You're asking for it.
Is camp involved?
It may or may not be.
Okay. When I've made a tie-dye shirt once, I was like, this is a lot of work.
It's hard. It doesn't look good.
It's
you
just
gotta buy your tie-dye. Don't do it at home.
For like hippies, like they're working really hard on their fashion. You know what I mean? Like it's like a Kanye level, like totally caring about fashion.
When I was like 11 or 12, like a Ben and Jerry's tie-dyed shirt was like a cool thing. I was like, oh, you like spent your summer somewhere in New England.
Vermont. Yeah.
You were like living the Ben & Jerry's lifestyle, and like they had those cool shirts.
I want to live the Ben & Jerry's lifestyle.
Me too.
That's probably what I would do. I would get out of the limo, and the Bachelorette would be there, and just be like, which one do you want? That's like, we've got Cherry Garcia, which is kind of like standard, but really well done.
Or like Chunky Monkey
and then we've
over
got
here.
Chunky Monkey here.
Have you ever been to the Ben & Jerry's factory in Waterbury, Vermont?
No.
Oh my God. If you're someone who's into free samples, which I am, it's heaven.
If we go to this place to get lunch a lot, Juliet and I, and Juliet will basically beg for free food.
I don't beg.
You beg for free food.
Just like I see they're going to be giving out some free cookies.
They were making cookies, and you're like, so what's up with those cookies over there? Just buy a cookie, Juliet. Like, I'll give you $1. You're embarrassing me.
And then, like, I think the next day we went to another place we go to frequently, the farm, and where we get coffee. And
Not where Chris works.
No.
The place is
the
called
farm
the
in
farm.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
At LA Live. If you sit down, they bring you free cornbread to your table. And we go get coffee like every day. Like we know the staff there. Our homie Daniel just seemed to have gotten a promotion. Took us by
shout
surprise.
to Daniel.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
And if you sit down, they bring you free cornbread. But like we go there every day. I feel like we're regulars. As a regular, I just think that they should just give us the free cornbread. You give it out. If we were sitting down for coffee, we'd get it.
You asked for cornbread.
Yeah.
You just asked for it. You're like, can I have cornbread? It's like, this is a restaurant. We sell food here. We sell food here. We don't just give it away. But there's no taste test in this podcast.
No, because
We're launching.
it's coming. We've been talking about it. We're recording.
We're launching the taste test podcast.
We're recording the first one next week. It's going to have a special guest. I won't say who it is in case it falls through. But it's just really exciting. It's
It's going to be short. It's going to be like 20 minutes long.
It's like for like your like short commute or like you just like going to grab lunch.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want.
Yeah. Who knows
We're
what it's
so
for?
excited about it. And by the way, we need guests. Anyone, like literally anyone could be a
Anyone
guest.
that wants to
Anyone
eat food
who
with
wants
us.
to taste us.
Yeah, feel free.
Come through.
We got to keep moving.
All right.
This season on the challenge.
I mean, like the worst part was that it seems like we're going to see Dion being really sick. So I'm not.
That was difficult. I heard bananas. I heard CT. I heard like some bananas and CT in the end. I think they go pretty far. You know, it was pretty standard fare. Nothing too crazy. I did like Jemmy when she's like, the challenge house has turned into a swingers club. And
Yeah,
it's
I
really
like that
creepy.
too.
I was like, that's great.
Oh, you know who's a good addition to the mix? Oh, I'm sorry. We have to cover two things. One thing I forgot. My homie Tom. I loved him from Real World Portland.
Oh my
From
God.
Real World Explosion. He's an idiot. He's so dumb. He's like, Wes just really knows what he's doing. I'm like, I trust him.
I feel like you would like being in a relationship with Tom because it's like you could just kind of tell him what to do.
Like
You
me
know what I mean?
personally?
Yeah, like you personally. I feel like it'd be one of those easy relationships to be because he has no opinions and he has no like goals or ambitions. You can just kind of like form him like a piece of clay.
I really hated myself when I was like cackling my head off when he was like, I'm single and very willing to mingle. Like sex. I was like laughing so hard, and I was like, is there a bigger loser in the world than me right now? No. And if so, it's Tom, but no, it's probably
no,
me.
probably you, because he's not consciously a loser. Like you know that
I
you're a
just
loser.
know that I'm pathetic for loving him.
Yes.
I just can't, the heart wants what the heart wants.
You can't deny it.
Also, Jenna.
I like that you're like, we have to talk about Tom. Sorry, Jago, we can't move on. We have to cover this Tom thing.
Also, Jenna and Jay. They're good additions to the mix. I'm really into them.
Oh, are you serious? I cannot stand them.
Oh, I like it.
I cannot stand them.
I like that she was like, I was crying a lot. Like, every girl has that moment where they're like, God, I was stupid for
She's
liking
like,
that
so
guy.
they're on this tightrope thing, like going between buildings or whatever, which is a great documentary.
Man, I'm liar.
Have you seen that? It's a
Yeah.
great documentary. But that's not what they're doing. And then Jenna's like, well, I'm a model, so this should be pretty easy for me. Like, okay.
You're not a
okay,
model.
Okay. First of all, you're not a model, girl.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, I don't know. Just because you put like a Red Bull t-shirt on and gave out free samples at a bar one weekend, that's not
Shots.
modeling. Okay?
Shot,
Not
shot.
modeling. Also, if you were a model, let's just imagine, let's just take you at your word that you are a model. You're not a catwalk model,
No.
okay? Like, if you're a model, you're a catalog model, okay? And if you were, let's imagine you were like a Milan Fashion Week model.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say Milano cookie. Keep
No,
going.
if you were a Milano cookie, that'd be weird, but we need you on the taste test. And that wouldn't help you tightrope
No.
walk across a building.
No.
Isn't it like, come on, Jen.
That challenge looked hard, by the way.
That challenge did look hard.
But like, it was way too much of the challenge. It was boring.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on.
We're moving on.
Vanderpump Rules.
It's just so good. I think
Is it your favorite show?
I think I look forward to watching it more than anything else in my life. Not just more than watching other shows. Like I think Vanderpump Rules, that like viewing, I have to make sure that I'm not too tired. Like me and my wife, I tell her, I'm like, give me your phone. Like we put our phones.
T-Stop is at 0.
Yeah, we put our phones like together somewhere else and we just lock in on the pump.
It's really good. Also, as reality TV professionals, it makes our job easy because it's just such outrageous content. Like, every week there's just like something.
I'm sorry. Once you said as reality TV professionals, I just blanked out.
Is that your number one?
No.
I'm just trying to see how low I can go this week. So basically, if I embarrass myself for a straight hour on this podcast, it's only up for the rest of the year.
I don't think that many people watch Vanderpump Rules, but
they should.
The subset of people that do love Vanderpump Rules and love talking about it. One of those people I didn't know, Carl's. Shout out to Carl's.
Oh my God, he loves it.
He loves the pump.
Yeah,
I love the pump.
I love Carl's. So it's good. It's a love.
But when you find out that someone else watches
like
Vanderpump Rules, you can talk about it for 5 hours without ever being bored.
I have a question for you. Did you invite any members of your family on your bachelor party weekend?
No.
Okay. Sheena not only had her sister there, she also had her mom.
Her mom.
And like it didn't seem like they were holding back at all.
So here's the thing: is like I was like, oh, this is a show-produced trip.
Yeah.
But then there's so many other people there that it's like kind of not a show-produced trip.
It was so. I mean, like it obviously was to a certain extent because James was there.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure they
Katie.
didn't pay for their own flights to go to Miami.
I'm sure Lisa didn't actually pay to upgrade Sheena's room.
Yes, that was a
Why
weird
would
phone
Lisa
call.
spend her money on that? It was so.
That was a weird phone call.
So weird. But here's what I really want to talk about.
They tried to make the Pandora like managing the restaurant a storyline. I was like, what is going on around here?
Seriously, like they're just trying to get Pandora on TV or something.
I don't know.
I'm confused by her accent. It's like very hard for me to
I like it.
Really? I don't care for it. It's not into it. Anyway, who cares? She's so boring. Not boring. Vale. So Vale, I'm really into her. She's kind of the one.
I like her too.
She's like nothing to lose. She's like obviously like the keep getting them checks woman of the show.
Yeah.
And like shout out to you. Congrats. And so she pulled something this week on the show that is like the biggest taboo move of our time. Like I think it's pretty wild.
I have a take on it, but please explain.
So the girls go out for one dinner for Sheena's Bachelorette. Meanwhile, Shay goes out with the boys. And at the boys' dinner, which James inexplicably gets invited to, he's texting updates of what Tom and Tom Schwartz and Jax are saying to his girlfriend Kristen, who is enemies with Tom Sandoval and Ariana.
Yep.
Kristen is being really obvious about reading them, but won't say out loud what's happening. She gets up and she goes to the bathroom. She grabs her purse.
Who goes to the bathroom without their phone?
But she leaves her phone on the table.
Who goes to the bathroom without their phone?
You leave your purse, you take the phone. You go to the bathroom to use your phone. Like you go
That's the only reason.
Yeah, it's like I need to call someone, text someone, I'm going to the bathroom.
And nobody leaves their phone on the table.
No.
Nobody does.
Nobody does that. I mean like in the off chance you do, you better have your text sent into a preview.
I hate to break this to you.
What?
Certain things that happen on reality television aren't real.
What?
Yes.
What?
There's no chance that Vale, first of all, no, like the first thing you do when you have a new phone,
Put in your passcode?
put in a passcode. They make you do it.
Yeah.
So you think Vale knows
They
the
actually, I
passcode?
just want to say one thing. They actually don't. If you have your ESPN email on your phone, then you have to because they're crazy about security. But
okay.
But you don't have to.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought everybody did.
No, you don't have to. But we do.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm wrong.
But like Kristen, who's like in a hostile environment, like you're putting a code on your phone. You don't want some bitch to pick it up and just read your text messages.
No, and I can't imagine a world in which anyone would actually do that.
Me neither. I just can't.
The producers obviously told her that.
So then Vale grabs her phone
Yes.
and reads aloud her text messages, which is like the number one thing that you do not do in our society. Like reading someone else's text messages, like without the go-ahead, is like the most intrusive thing you can do. It's worse than reading someone's email, in my opinion, because like email is like there's like someone always reading.
Yeah.
But text messages is easier to convince yourself it's completely private. Like the NSA is not watching.
Yes.
It's really bad, really, really bad to do that.
And there wasn't even anything interesting.
I know James didn't divulge anything.
Yeah.
Probably because he's like, if there's any modicum of like truth or reality here, he's like, smart enough to not divulge that to Kristen while she's in hostile waters. Just so that whole thing was so wild. But I was so happy that Vale was there to be the one to at least pretend to be like, yeah, I'll read some girls' text messages aloud to a gigantic table.
One thing I learned on this episode, that Sheena wears way too much makeup.
Way too much. She's pretty
Because we
without
saw
it.
some of Sheena without makeup. I was like, oh, she has an actual face and she looks good.
I mean, really heavy fake eyelashes are generally never attractive. I mean, she's pretty. And
she is.
I don't know. I was like, it's her. What? I looked up her. I was like, she goes by Sheena Marie, and I was like, what is her real last name? And I couldn't even figure it out from Wikipedia. She's erased her real last name from the internet.
Huh.
Pretty wild.
Interesting.
So that was weird. And then the real exciting part of this episode was the next week on.
Okay. Let me explain what happened.
Yes, please do.
So they're in Miami. Apparently, Jax and Tom Sandoval lived in Miami together at some point.
It's for 2 years.
How did I not know that?
I know. I thought they were like
How
in
do
LA
you-
for forever.
Like, if you live
But
with a dude
Jacoby.
for 2 years, how do you sleep with their girlfriend in their house?
Jax is 35. Like, he has a lot of years to pull from here.
He does. He does. So Jax was in Miami, and this is what happens. There's a gentleman that joins the show next week who's one of their friends from when they lived together. And Tom Sandoval reveals that there were rumors that Jax and this man had some sort of sexual relationship.
Some sort of involvement.
Everyone that I've talked to about this had the exact same reaction, and yourself included. So just like be honest and say what you said.
Makes perfect sense.
That I could
Not
see.
surprising at
Everyone's
all.
like, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, not surprising at all.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Because like, another thing, it could just be a tease. Like it could just be like a jokey rumor thing. Mm-hmm. So who knows what really happened? But it is interesting.
Speaking of Carl's, he sent me some pictures that were of Jax's early modeling days. And
I may or may not have gotten some similar pictures from Carl's.
was it like and him in like purple briefs or whatever?
Yes.
Not exactly safe for work.
Not exactly safe for work.
But also not
But
safe for work.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, I was like, wow, he looks really different. He looks really different. It's crazy.
Yeah.
He's just, I don't know.
One thing about Jax that doesn't get enough credit, okay, is the subtlety of the nose job. Rarely do people get nose jobs that don't look like nose jobs and they're just like subtle. You know what I mean? Like I thought he actually has like a tasteful nose job.
Where is he from? He has such a Midwestern accent. It's so weird.
He's not from this planet.
I don't. He really is like, he's like some kind of cyborg.
Yeah,
he's like perfect for reality
If
TV.
you took Jax off this show, there is no show. That's one thing I realized when I was watching this episode. I was like, I only care about Jax.
I know, because, you know, Stassi's basically off the show.
Off the show.
And we're still watching. I kind of feel bad for her. She obviously got screwed by potentially having her own show that didn't get picked up.
First of all, that's not obvious. We don't know that that's true.
That's just the obvious narrative in my
Yeah,
head.
exactly. I was like, that's not obvious, Julia. Like, I'm not even sure that happened, to be honest with you. We gotta move.
Okay. Real World. We'll just breeze through it. Did you watch?
I hadn't seen this episode yet.
Okay, so I watched. The skeleton comes, and we'll get more into it next week because we have to move on anyway. But so it's Sylvia's boss named Alicia, who, whatever, we don't know a lot about her yet, except that she was saying that that Sylvia sleeps with other girls' boyfriends. But then Sylvia's thing is she's a that Alicia's a pathological liar, and 97% of what she says is not true. Very high percentage.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, what time is it, Alicia? She's got to get that right.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about it. So Violetta immediately turns on her. The producers walk in a bed, they put in Sylvia's room. Violetta's move is she throws all the stuff on the bed over the railing, down to the floor. It's a good
classic reality TV move.
Yeah, and it's real solidarity. I liked it. I like Violetta.
Remember the toilet paper toss from the very first Real World?
Yeah, of course.
Yep, over the railing.
Of course. A loft like that's a really good way to go because it's a lot of good shots. Very open.
Yeah, a lot of open space.
Anyway, Violetta's ride or die with Sylvia. Everyone, Madison is oh my God, so great. We have a new roommate. She's.
That seems ridiculous.
It's funny. They've kind of accepted her for who she is now, and they're she's off in Madison World. She doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
All this stuff. But so anyway, and then Sylvia's off doing a 2-hour her interview for the week or whatever, and she gets back and the girl's there, and so everyone has immediately decided to flip on the girl. And I was thinking about it. One of the reasons Explosion worked was because there was some lingering feelings in a lot of those relationships.
Yeah.
So there was an incentive to pretend that you were happy they were there, or to welcome them. All right, we got to live with this. But with this Alicia, who Sylvia hates, and there's no reason for them to try to make it work with her. So I don't know. I wonder if it's going to be as successful as the ex's twist.
We'll see. But it's an interesting twist. And one thing that I want to say is that the first episode, do you remember Violetta's performance?
Yeah, it was amazing.
She got hammered, she made out with the dude, then she made out with the girl. She was just I thought she was going to be a crazy drunken mess, but she's really kind of settled in and toned down.
I legitimately like her.
Yeah, me too.
I know she's kind of a bully and she's crazy, but I'm in a bizarro world, I'd be friends with her. I could see it. I like her. I do too. I think she's very pretty.
Yeah, I think so too. She's got a very not plain pretty vibe. She's got a nice look to her. The nose ring works for her too.
Totally. Also, I like how she dresses to go out. She wears simple clothes that just look good on her, and it's very
it
short.
Seems like when she goes to a store, she goes right to the store clerk and she's like, "Do you have something that will show the side of my boob? Because I do not wear anything that doesn't show the side of my boob." She has
a lot of American Apparel, which doesn't look good or hot on a lot of people, but it
works for her.
It looks good on her.
It works
so
for her.
I like her. I like Sylvia.
News time.
News. All right, we got a lot of explosive info here.
Yeah.
Number one, hours after appearing on the red carpet show together, Andy and Josh have broken up.
really interesting turn of events. First of all, if someone just said Andy and Josh broke up, I'd be like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
but
like,
we just saw them together acting like a couple. What happened?
Straight up faking it.
Okay, I have a theory.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't put this in the news. Oh yeah, Claire's alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, no, but I think, this is my theory, based on nothing, that all of those Bachelor people got slammered. Josh did something.
Interesting.
Just throwing it out there.
Wow.
All of those Bachelor people, they're all out, they're all getting slammered somewhere. Josh like grabbed a butt or something.
Interesting.
Throwing it out there.
Huh. I think they just were staying together for the show.
Okay.
And then just like, okay, we're done now. Like, our obligation's over.
They did seem like a good couple. They seemed like the male and female version of each other. They were like equally attractive.
But like
they're from the same area.
Maybe they're too similar.
I know.
Tales old as time. You think it's right.
Yeah,
you know?
That's why you'd be so good with Tom.
I know. We could not be more different.
Exactly.
I like to think one of us is dumb, one of us is smart.
Yeah, one of you is dumb and one of you is
less
average.
dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
One of us is like almost 30, one of us is like almost 20.
It'll work out
Totally works. Totally works. All right, so they broke up, and what if she goes back to Nick?
Normcore Nick?
I would love that. I don't think that's gonna happen, but like I would just love it.
I'm out on Normcore Nick.
He also just kind of like shamed her on national television,
Yeah,
and I would never get down with that.
I don't think that's gonna work.
It's like second worst to saying I have no gag reflex on national television. Next, Claire from The Batch. Apparently, she was so wasted from drinking on the red carpet that Michelle Money had to call the paramedics to like help her get rehydrated.
I didn't like get it. It seemed like something just didn't check out. Yeah, it didn't check out.
Are you saying they faked it for attention on TMZ?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Interesting theory. I never would guess that with these two.
Yeah, that's what I think
I
happened.
love that Claire and Michelle Money are friends, though, because you know they're going to be on the Bachelor pad like for years to come, and they're going to be like...
First of all, it's not called Bachelor Pad.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Sorry.
And Bachelor in Paradise is never going away.
Yopo.
It is never going away.
You're right about The Challenge and Bachelor in Paradise. Why aren't these shows on every day all year?
All the time.
Like,
why do they ever stop?
They're not cheap. They're not expensive to make. Like,
no. Bachelor in Paradise could just be a network.
Yeah. I really don't get it. All right. Anyway. Next, I read a story in an Israeli newspaper that the Kardashians are looking at that Kourtney and Scott are looking to buy an apartment beachside in Tel Aviv, and there's speculation that there could be a season of the Kardashians there. And it's ridiculous. But do you remember when I've only heard about this? I don't watch the Kardashians. So do you remember when Scott was like exploring his like Jewish side? His Jewishness?
No,
that was a couple
I don't
years ago.
remember that.
I could like see that being a storyline.
Well, I have been watching the Hamptons thing, and Scott is like, he really went through it this season. He went to rehab.
He did?
Yeah.
Was it real rehab or TV rehab?
Real rehab.
Interesting.
And there was one scene where he went out, and it's like clearly the next morning, and he's still awake, and he's got some quote unquote friend there or whatever. And on TV they do this. The friend's like, you need to go to sleep. You need to go to sleep. He's like, let's just take one pill. Like you and me, just take one pill.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
And it was like, whoa,
That's
dude.
scary.
Like they didn't say what kind of pill or whatever. It was just like
Tylenol.
he was really messed up.
That's sad.
He was really messed up.
Well, Tel Aviv has a reputation for being a party city, so maybe they shouldn't go there.
I hope he straightens himself out.
Last piece of news: Teresa Giudice is now in jail. She turned herself over 2 a.m. on like January 5th. Her last meal apparently was at a diner. And Radar Online claims she's like already complaining about life in jail, but I question that Radar really has sources that info.
We'll see.
Anyway, non-reality news of the week. We got 2 stories.
2 stories.
Which you want to go with first?
Jamie Lynn Spears.
Jamie Lynn Spears last week was at a pita pit. Have you ever been there?
No.
It's a chain I went to in college.
Okay.
I love like pita sandwiches. It's like Subway but on pita bread. And like some fight broke out, and like someone was like going after her friend. And she pulled a knife out of her bag. She just like...
Who carries a knife?
I don't know.
Who carries a knife?
So weird.
Are you going to stab someone?
I don't know. It was like somewhere in Louisiana where she's from. It's just so weird. I love it, though.
I get like
It's a great
carrying a
story.
knife, like if you like work with your hands, or you're like a grip or something, you need to like cut rope or whatever, you've got like a little knife attached to your belt. Like that's... But like a knife is a weapon in your purse every single day?
I know. Like, do
weird.
you always leave the house with that?
It's a weird move.
Is
It's a weird
Pita
move.
Pit known for fights?
Is it a switchblade? Or is the blade exposed in your purse? Like, what if you're just reaching around?
I know, I was wondering, does it have a cover?
Key? Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're like reaching around your purse for the keys, like, oh, you slice off your pinky finger.
So weird. Speaking of confrontations, our other reality news is a week ago.
About a week ago?
Was it a week or a few days?
About a week ago? About a week ago!
Marie Spates strong bench player for the Golden
Yeah.
State Warriors, was at
Having
a
a great
club
year.
in San Francisco. And he's also responsible for the Coco videos. I'm in love with the Coco.
Yep.
Baking soda. He was in
That's one of my favorite Juliet moments. Baking soda.
He was outside of a club, and apparently some guys pulled a gun on him.
Pulled a gun.
They're trying to get his gold necklaces.
Trying to get his gold chains. And then it says he ran.
He ran. It was like at a parking lot. So
That's pretty bold. If someone pulls a gun on me, I'm like, whatever you want, dude. Like, whatever you want.
I was
You've got a
thinking-
gun.
I was
I'm not just
thinking-
going to run.
also was thinking about that. It apparently was in a parking lot outside of a club. San Francisco doesn't really have clubs with parking lots like that. So I was wondering if it was actually in Oakland, maybe. Oakland is more of a driving city than San Francisco. But then he had a great game that night, and he had like 17 points off the bench. So don't mean no thing to him.
Doesn't mean a
Just
thing.
Doing
It's
his
just weird.
thing.
He ran. That's kind of bold.
It's weird that he ran. It's weird there was like no other repercussions. And also, like, who was he with? Was he
I
alone?
think they found the person. The police found the alleged gunman. It's just weird.
The story I read, which I believe was in Sports Illustrated, said, or online on Sports Illustrated, said that he was approached by a gang and that he ran. It didn't say who he was with. So like he couldn't have been alone, right? Like
No.
I just have a lot of follow-up questions.
Yeah, I think
I'm not
we'll learn more.
Not sure we're done with this story.
Yeah, I think we'll learn some
TMZ
more.
Sports, please get on it.
Get on it.
This has been a really fun podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. We're so back. We're here and we're killing it. And the taste test is coming. Recording it next week. We got Batch. We got it all. Thanks for listening. And
Next
we will
Friday.
be back next week.
You see, every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this fancy graphic listing all the topics that your favourite Grantland podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast adventure. Subscribe to the Grantland Podcast channel to blaze your own trail on this sonic journey.